Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, I'm really excited because I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this super cute, quick and easy stress ball pattern. This is actually a tutorial we used to have on the channel in 2 different versions, and those tutorials were by Fiona, my twin sister. But if you guys didn't know, she did decide to step away from this channel and she took down her tutorials and all her videos and everything. So I decided I was going to make a new tutorial to show you guys how to make this stress ball, and I'll also be doing the mini octo pattern because I know you guys really love those tutorials and I was really sad to have them taken down because I mentioned them so much to you guys because they are market best sellers and they are definitely a perfect like beginner crochet plushie pattern or anything like that. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the stress ball and I'm super excited. This one is going to be step-by-step and beginner friendly, but I might also eventually do a more sped up version just like if you guys want the pattern, because I know we had both of those options previously and I liked having both of those options. So today's going to be the beginner friendly version and I'm going to walk you guys through how to make this guy, and this is also a part of our 10 weeks of market tutorials series. So for the past 4 weeks now I have been showing you guys how to make all of my favorite market best selling patterns and tutorials, and today is going to be week 5, so stay tuned for all 10 weeks of the market prep tutorials. And without further yapping, let's just get right into how to make the stress ball. So starting out with materials, I'm going to show you guys the yarn I'm going to be using. So it's going to be this yarn. This is Bernat baby blanket, I think, but any Bernat blanket or Bernat baby blanket will work. It is a weight 6, I believe, super bulky yarn, and it is just the blanket yarn. You can also use chenille yarn as long as it's like weight 6. I will be using an 8mm for this yarn, so if you have yarn that's a little thinner, it might not work. But that is what I'm going to be using for the stress ball. And then in terms of materials, like I said, you're going to need a 8mm crochet hook. You can also use a 6mm with this yarn and with this pattern, but it will come out much smaller. You will also need a stitch marker to keep track of your round, a tapestry needle for sewing in the ends, and a pair of scissors. I'm also going to be using 2 12mm safety eyes. That's just the size I like to use for these. And then you can also grab a little bit of stuffing. I'm going to use polyfill just for stuffing our stress ball. Now that we have all of our materials, we are just going to get right into how to make this stress ball. So we are going to start out with our yarn and our 8mm hook. And quick disclaimer before I get into it, you can see we have a new setup from the previous 4 tutorials because I'm at home now, and this is my desk I've had since I was a little kid, so there's a lot of scratches, but I did wash it. It's completely clean. It's just scratched up, so sorry about that. But I'm gonna try and do everything as slowed down as I possibly can, but things like magic rings or slip knots or whatever are kind of hard to explain, so for those I might just go really slow. And then if you at any point in the tutorial don't know how to do something and my explanation isn't thorough enough because maybe you haven't actually learned how to crochet yet, the tutorial's not really intended to teach you how to crochet. It's more just beginner friendly, like to practice your skills that you've learned. So with that being said, if there's anything that you're really struggling with, there's so many tutorials out there that will teach you the actual stitches or the magic ring or anything like that. So you can go and watch those and then come back when you're ready to make this guy. But with that being said, I'm going to start out with a magic ring. So I'm going to do it nice and slow for you guys, just in case you don't know how to do it or you need a reminder. Also, if that's not how you guys learn how to do a magic ring, that's completely fine. I do it kind of weird, I understand, but you do want to make a magic ring, and if you find magic rings difficult or you don't like doing them, you can also do a chain 2 and work into the first chain. And now that we have our magic ring, we're not really going to chain 1, we're just going to start working our single crochets, and we're going to be doing single crochets for this entire project. So to make our first single crochet, we are going to insert our hook into the magic ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both of the loops on our hook. And that is our first single crochet. You can mark this with your stitch marker if you want to, but I'm not going to mark it for this first round. But you are then going to make 5 more single crochets for a total of 6 single crochets in round 1 of our project. So insert our hook into that magic ring, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and I'll complete the rest of them with you just quietly. And once you have 6, you are all done with round 1. Okay, now that we have our 6 single crochets for round 1, I'm going to pull this strand of yarn and it's going to close up our ring, but I'm not going to tie and secure it yet just in case I need to expand it for any reason during the next row. But I will be securing it with a few knots after the next row just because that's what I like to do for all my plushies, just to make them a little extra secure. So let's first do round 2. So for round 2, we are going to start by putting 1 single crochet right in that very first stitch that we made in round 1. So when we see a crochet stitch, it is almost like V's. Like if you turn them to the side, you see how that's like a V shape. So we are going to be working into both parts of that V. So just inserting our hook into both parts of that V for the first stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and that is our first single. And then we are going to insert our stitch marker, so just insert like that. You'll notice I don't close up my stitch marker. That's just personal preference. I find I can work a little bit faster when I don't do that, but it's totally optional. And we are actually going to be, for round 2, putting 1 more single crochet into that very same stitch we just worked into for a increase. So just place 1 more single crochet right into that very same stitch we just worked into, and that is an increase stitch, and that is what we will be repeating all the way around. So go ahead and put 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around, and we will be left with a total of 6 increases, which will be 12 stitches total for round 2 of our stress ball. Now that I'm finished with round 2, I'm going to flip my project over and I'm going to secure it with a few knots, just like I mentioned I was going to. And I just removed the stitch marker, and now I'm ready to start out on round 3. So for round 3, we are going to start by putting 1 single crochet into that first stitch from round 2. And I'm going to insert my stitch marker back, and then we are not going to be doing an increase in that first stitch, but we are going to be doing an increase in the very next stitch. So in the second stitch of the round, we are going to be putting 2 single crochets, so a increase. And then in the following stitch, we're going to just put 1 single crochet. And then in the fourth stitch, we're going to be doing 2 single crochets, so an increase. And that is the pattern we will be repeating all the way around for round 3. So 1 single crochet and then 1 increase 6 times for a total of 18 stitches in round 3. Okay, we're now finished round 3, so we're going to start out with round 4, and for the start of round 4, we are just going to be putting 1 single crochet in that very first stitch and adding in our stitch marker. And for the rest of round 4, we are also just going to be putting 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around. And so at the end of round 4, you will have 18 stitches still for the total of the round. Okay, and I just made it to the end of round 4, so I'm going to remove the stitch marker. And for round 5, we are going to start by putting 1 single crochet into that very first stitch. And I just inserted back my stitch marker. And now that we have that, we are actually going to be starting out with our decreases in this round. So now that we have our 1 single crochet in the first stitch, we are going to be making a decrease into the next 2 stitches. So to do that, we're actually going to be doing invisible decreases. So remember how I said that crochet stitches are like V-shaped? So for invisible decreases, we are only going to be working into the front loop of the V. So when you have your work facing you, it will be the loop closest to you. So we're going to start by inserting our hook into that front loop only, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then insert our hook into that next front loop only, yarn over and pull up another loop. And then to finish it off, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. And that is an invisible decrease. So that is what we will be repeating all the way around. So 1 single crochet followed by invisible decrease in every stitch all the way around. So we will be doing this pattern a total of 6 times for a total stitch count of 12 in round 5. Okay, and I've now completed round 5 of our stress ball. But before I go ahead and finish up the stress ball with round 6, I am going to insert my eyes. So go ahead and grab your 2 12mm safety eyes. And we're going to be placing our eyes in rounds 3 and 4. So between rounds 3 and 4. So just start at the top and count down 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to be putting it right in between rounds 3 and 4. And I like to keep my hook at the back just to keep that like seam part out the back. And it's also kind of personal preference where you put the eyes. I know like Fiona likes to put them a little bit closer. I like to put them a little further apart usually. So it's just whatever you like. Mine are around 4 stitches apart here. So I'm now going to add on the backs. And now that our eyes are secured, we can move on to the final round of the stress ball. So it's round 6, and I just removed the stitch marker. And now I'm going to be putting invisible decreases all the way around for a total of 6 stitches in round 6. So I am going to go into that very first front loop, pull up a loop, and go into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and then make my first decrease. And I will be repeating that 5 more times for a total of 6 invisible decreases in round 6. Okay, I've now finished round 6, so I'm going to remove the stitch marker, and I'm going to just chain 1 and leave a small tail for just sewing this guy up. So just around that much yarn. And then I'm just going to cut it off. And before I go ahead and sew this guy up, I'm going to add a little bit of polyfill just to stuff it. And you can kind of squish it while it's still open just to see if it's nice, because this is a stress ball, so you kind of want it to have a good amount of firmness but not too much that you can't squish it, you know. So that's about how much I would like. And I'm now going to grab my tapestry needle and just put my yarn onto it, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my needle through the front loops only of every stitch we made in round 6. So just inserting my needle into the first front loop and pulling the yarn through, and I'm going to continue doing that in every stitch around, and this will help us close up the stress ball. So now that I have it through all the loops, I'm just going to pull it gently to close it up. And once I have it closed up, I do like to just go into a close by stitch and make a few knots. I just like my stuff to be really secure, guys, so that's why I do that. And I'm going to finish it off by just inserting my needle into the project really close by to where I secured the knots, and then just pushing the needle through the project and pulling that yarn through. And then I just kind of push a little bit of that extra yarn into the project to hide it, and then I will cut off any extra. But this is what our completed stress ball is looking like. It is so cute. I absolutely love these guys. They are so fun and quick and easy to make. and these are definitely a market bestseller. Fiona and I have been selling these stress balls for probably 5 or 6 years now, and they sell amazingly. And if you guys were wondering, we used to sell these guys for $4 each or 3 for $10, but now I believe we sell them for $5 each or 3 for $10, just because it's been so long since we started selling them that we did increase the price. But they are such a quick and easy project to make. I really hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and I do want to give some credit to Fiona, who originally made the tutorial for these guys. We did kind of collaborate on both the stress ball and mini octo patterns. Fiona was the one that actually wrote them down, but we collaborated on them, so it was really fun for me to get to give you my version of how to make these guys. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys made this and what you thought of it and what color you guys made, because I love to hear what colors you guys make. And if you did enjoy the tutorial, don't forget to like it and subscribe to see more tutorials like this one. As I mentioned previously, I am going to be doing 10 weeks of tutorials, and this is week 5. So we're halfway there, and we have already made a no-sew turtle, a scrunchie, a bee, and a no-sew jellyfish. So stay tuned for more, and make sure to go check out those other tutorials if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye!